You know, one thing I absolutely love about the corporate press is that they will report the news, express shock at some outrageous story. Donald Trump will then convey similar shock and outrage. The media will then flip on a dime and say, it's Donald Trump's fault. He's making this up. Welcome to the modern mainstream news era, my friends. The story is this. Pennsylvania found a whole bunch of what may be serious voter fraud, phony registrations. Donald Trump then says, look at this story that they're reporting in the media. Phony registrations and fraud. It's cheating right in front of our eyes. CNN then says Trump stokes voter fraud fears in Pennsylvania as counties investigate and state urges patience. This is the game. It's happened every single time there's been a major story. And right now, the deep concern is that in Pennsylvania, there's a lot of cheating. I'm seeing a lot of videos. It's hard to confirm what's real and what's not. But I just got to say, look, man, I would actually be surprised if there was no cheating. Whether or not you're going to find real evidence of it, this time around, I would say fraud is a guarantee. I know. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you can do about it. I'm just saying, you can't have Democrats and the corporate press screaming that Donald Trump is Hitler and then believe that people aren't going to do whatever it takes. There is a trope in American philosophical ideology about would you travel back in time to, let's just say, remove from the timeline, we'll put it that way, the baby Hitler, okay? And a lot of people make the argument that the baby did nothing wrong and you can't harm the baby. Others say you got to stop that baby before he becomes Hitler, right? There are a lot of jokes in this trope about whether or not you can take an action against something or someone that is innocent, despite knowing that in the future they will be evil. My point is this. The reason that exists is because there actually is, in moral philosophy, the idea that you must do everything to stop a would-be Hitler, even if you could go back in time harming a baby. Now, what do you think it means when the Democrats scream Trump is Hitler over and over and over again? There have been 2 legitimate assassination attempts, 1 plot within the past couple of months. Do you think there will be no individual? Not a single one is going to be like, I'm going to try and stop Trump. Nay, my friends, we know it to be true. With the assassination attempts, and we hope this stops, I hope so, that's the extreme end. What if one guy says, well, that's crazy, I can't believe they would do that. Me, I'll just ballot harvest. What if one guy says, wow, that's crazy, I'll just go in some way, do something that negatively impacts the election nefariously, maliciously, to stop Donald Trump? I think it is actually reasonable to assume these things may happen. Now, this is a story from CNN, but here's the official news. PA election offices on high alert following potential voter registration fraud investigation in Lancaster County. They say these websites are awful. York County's Office of Elections recently received a large delivery containing thousands of voter registration forms and mail-in ballot applications from a third-party group. It's not unusual to get large stacks of voter registrations or large stacks of requests for mail-in ballots. It's just this was an overabundance of registrations from one particular organization. According to York County officials, the delivery was made by Field Media Corps, which was acting on behalf of Everybody Votes campaign. According to its website, Field Plus Media Corps is an Arizona-based consulting firm, which began as a field operation in 2017, connecting campaigns and projects with communities of color across the state. Along with Arizona, the firm also hires political canvassers in PA, Nevada, and California. The county is now taking a closer look at how these forms and applications. We're in a phase now where we need to do our homework before we go and make accusations when we don't have the data to back it up. A statement. We are committed to ensuring the integrity, safety, and security of our elections. The York County Office of Elections and Voter Registration has received a large delivery containing thousands of election-related materials from a third-party organization. Those materials appear to include completed voter registration forms, as well as mail-in ballot applications. As with all submissions, our staff follows a process for ensuring all voter registrations and mail-in ballots are legal. That process is currently underway. If suspected fraud is identified, we will alert the DA's office, which will then conduct an investigation. We will have no further comment until our internal review has been completed. Now, of course, Donald Trump tweeted about this, saying, wow, York County, PA received thousands of potentially fraudulent voter registration forms and mail-in ballot applications from a third-party group. This is on top of Lancaster County being caught with 2,600 fake ballots and forms. all written by the same person. Really bad stuff. What is going on in Pennsylvania? Law enforcement must do their job immediately. Wow. CNN says he's just stoking fears. A week from Election Day, the former president of, I really wish I had the ability to edit these articles and remove the wasted words they do. This is likely because someone's like, look, I'm going to need 300 words on this Trump story. So like, let me put a bunch of nonsense in it. That's why you'll often hear me reading stories say blah, 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 blah. It's immaterial information. A week from Election Day, the former president and the Republican National Committee appear to be laying the groundwork to challenge voting results if Trump loses. Nonsense! Doesn't need to be in the story. They can say, Donald Trump did not wait for the results of a York and Lancaster County investigation before stating that there could be potential fraud. Now, the silly thing about this op-ed from CNN masquerading as news is the story is as such. They reported they may be experiencing fraud, but they're not sure, so they're going to look into it. Trump says potentially fraudulent forms. Wow, that's what they're saying. The news literally said they're doing this. Trump and RNC officials have increasingly floated claims about potential issues. This is Fox 43 reporting this, and they're not the only ones. This is the game they play. Suspected voter registration fraud under investigation. Thanks, CNN. Last week, law enforcement and election officials in Lancaster County announced they had identified incidents of suspected voter registration fraud. And simply by tweeting it out, they're now claiming Trump is stoking the fears. How about you say the news media is stoking the fears? On Tuesday, York County spokesperson Greg Monsky would not confirm to CNN whether it received fraudulent voter registration applications and couldn't speak to any connection. Yeah, they said they're investigating its potential. Election officials pushed back on claims of voter suppression. This is the game that CNN likes to play. Look at this. New York Times says, as Trump sows doubt on Pennsylvania voting, officials say the system is working. Donald Trump is using reports about suspicious voter registrations to cast the election as already flawed. County officials say the episodes are being distorted. That's called an opinion piece masquerading as news. We can't read Trump's mind. All we can say is Trump makes posts about potentially fraudulent voter registration forms. That's a fact. Trump did make the post. To infer that he is doing that for a reason for which you cannot read his mind, this is how the corporate press launders pro-Democrat favorable content, smears against Donald Trump. This is evil. Okay, it's what evil is. All right, let me explain. These people, the New York Times, Campbell Robertson, and Matthias Schwartz, have been masquerading as journalists when in fact they're activists who don't like Donald Trump. As Trump sows doubt on Pennsylvania voting, officials say the system is working. Opinion piece. Well, okay, maybe it says op-ed somewhere. Does it? Yeah, of course it doesn't. Because this is what the New York Times does. All of these large outlets take it upon themselves to claim that you, I, or otherwise are either spreading or sowing disinformation. The reality is that they run opinion as fact. Trump isn't sowing doubt on Pennsylvania voting. All you can say is Trump posts about voter fraud investigation, registration fraud investigation. Officials say the system is working. That's your fact. That's the game they play. I like Newsweek. Pennsylvania voter fraud investigation into overabundance of applications. Not even a complete sentence. Come on, Newsweek, you can do better than this. Here's where we're at. There is a concern about voter fraud across the board. I think it's fair to say that cheating will occur. And I'm not just saying Democrats, everybody. I think Democrats are more likely to, but what form that takes. Let's talk about what cheating means. Is cheating that they're going to make fake ballots? No, that's not what I'm saying. Cheating is, in my opinion, against the spirit of the system. So let's talk about various ways you can cheat in various games. There is the overt cheating, like let's say you're playing cards, you're playing poker, and you shuffle it as such to sleight of hand an ace as the seventh card. So when you deal it out, the last card coming to you is the ace. That's cheating overtly. You're rigging the game. But there's other means of cheating. And that is, in this election, you can say it is cheating to change the rules the last minute so that the election is won not based on the merits, but based on procedure. Now, it's within the rules, but I think it's fair to say you're violating the spirit of the game. You are, in essence, cheating. You are setting this up so that you have an advantage over someone else. The expectation of voters is that we will all hear arguments from the candidates. We will all decide who made the better argument. We will then go out and cast our ballots. That's not how it works. As Republicans continually believe that's the game, Democrats ballot harvest, voter in the park, or have judges or governors change the rules. I argue that is cheating because it violates the spirit of an election, which is supposed to be the will of the people. The way the Democrats play the game, it's not the will of the people. It's who can win procedurally. To be fair, in the literal sense, it's not really cheating. They're utilizing the rules as the rules are presented to them to win, and Republicans are trying to play this game of honor. Good luck with that. Right now, I believe it's fair to say that Democrats are, let's just say, working within the rules in a way that we don't think is fair. That's the game they play with ballot harvesting, voter in the park, and these lawsuits. And they're better at it than Republicans. So if you're sitting back and you're not going out and voting, don't be surprised when you wake up and Donald Trump has lost. You've been warned. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes, and we'll see you all then.